To the Bladen County Board of Commissioners meeting Monday, November the 18th. At this time, Mr. Trevor Warren Hill will do the invocation, and Leah and Jordan Jarman will lead us in the pledge of allegiance. After we pray, please stand.
Pray with me. Father, thank you so much for being able to be here tonight. I'm thankful for our county commissioners that would allow us to come and pray and seek your face tonight. And I pray for them, pray for each one of them individually, Lord, that you'd be with them and give them guidance and direction and help. Pray for them collectively, Lord, as they come together to do the business for this county. I pray your will be done. And we thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
And Leah and Jordan, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming. There, under 3A, I don't see Mr. Brooks. So I guess I need to remove him from the agenda.
You want to move it down?
You want us to just skip over for a while?
Yeah.
And then we get there, we'll type it. Okay, so let's move it down to, let's put it under the new item there where we got, matters of interest commissioners, the 14A. Be 13A.
I'll motion to remove that item down to 13A, sir.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. You got that, Mr. Brooks, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
And second by, who did second? Dr. O'Feeman, I'm going. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, matters of interest commissioner, anyone have anything tonight? So one thing we did do, we did add a matters of interest to commissioners at the bottom of the agenda, so if you got something, we can legally talk about it now.
Thank you for that.
Okay, 4 is individual delegation wish to address the commissioners. No one? Item 5 is sheriff's department. Consider approving steps related to federal inmates, steps related to federal inmate housing. Sheriff?
We're here tonight to ask for final approval of housing 80 federal inmates at a cost of $75 per person per day, and transporting $25 per detention officer per trip plus mileage. And also in doing this, at no cost to taxpayers, we're asking for the detention officer and telecommunicator, we're asking to have one beginning rate of pay for all employees of the Bladen County Sheriff's Office. And we can do this, go from $32,389 to $35,742 at no cost to taxpayers.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Good, second by Mr. Dowse, any discussion?
No, I just want to confirm so everybody knows that you're asking that raise so that we be competitive, so that you can hire.
I am Mr. Owen, and also, so if we have people who want to be a deputy, we don't have any openings, we can hire the detention officer, and because we're losing a lot of people, follow that.
Good.
And also, Mr. Chairman, 2 vans that we're requesting for transporting, that cost $80,000 for, at no cost to taxpayers.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Brooks.
Sheriff, you have two, would there be 2 employees traveling on these vans?
Anytime the federal regulations, if you have 10 inmates or 1 inmate, you have to have 2 detention officers. And also we're asking for an additional 8 detention officers to cover this.
Now, the salary increase, was that for the entire, all the deputies and everyone?
No,
or
sir.
just-
Yes, sir. It doesn't include the deputy, it just includes the detention officer and telecommunicator. And also,
The amended contract includes up to 110 federal inmates, and the thinking there is
eventually, if we want to expand it, we can go up to 110 without having to come back for approval. Do the elements the same. Have 8 additional detention officers, amend the pay plan for detention of 911 prosecution, appropriate $80,000 for purchase of transport vehicles, and $100,000 in recurring for maintenance on facility and detention position.
Mr. Dodger?
This, I know you probably couldn't pin it down, but what's your projected start date when this is going to start?
We're hoping, now we're in the process of, having our pod repainted, and, in 14 days, we should have moved inmates in.
14 days.
And the marshal has agreed to any way of it to do it, he'll bring 5 a day, or 20 a day, or until we got full 80. And with that 80, we're talking about 10 females and the rest being males.
But what I'm asking, will you be able to accommodate in and out before you get the staff on board?
We're in the process of replacing some employees. We're hoping to hire 4, we're in the process of doing backgrounds now. If we get those 4 hired, we won't have any problem now.
Okay. Okay.
Any more discussion?
So this will start December 1.
Probably the first or second week of December, as soon as the paint and cure will bring in.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Department of Social Service, Ms. Vicky Smith.
Good evening. I'm here tonight, as you've seen in your packets, our Bladen County DSS fraud, plan has been revised by the agency for us to begin the process of prosecuting, fraud cases that have been committed in the economic services unit. This will include Medicaids and the food nutrition areas. We are hoping that through the training of our staff and of the public, we will improve the use of the county dollars, federal and state dollars, while providing better services for our clients. We have met with our stakeholders, which includes the DA's office, the sheriff's office, who will have a designated investigator to assist us, and have the support of our district court judge, Scott Ussery. All stakeholders are excited about the implementation of this plan, and we're looking forward to working together collaboratively to reduce the fraud committed by recipients. Currently, we do have 677 open fraud cases, 677. Those are established claims. We are currently working with those people or the recipients, and we have 40 new cases that we are looking at investigating to prove that fraud has been committed. So I come to you this evening just for approval for us to go forward with this plan.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Thank you.
Motion by Mr. Gooden, second by Mr. Brett. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, my question is that, you think the media can, if you put things on the media that would help reduce fraud cases?
That is part of the training plan, is that we will have some information out in the public. Because we need people to understand what they are eligible for and the proper information that they need to be sharing with us.
So what are you finding most of your problems with fraud?
We are finding, and I'm going to turn to, this is Monica Howe, our fraud program integrity supervisor, and I'll ask her to share information as she feels needs. But we are having a problem sometimes with people when they apply for benefits. They have changes during the year, and they do not report those changes. And that's a good possibility. Sometimes people just give us information that just is not correct.
And you learn of the changes through computer interface?
Yes. Where we find a lot of things, someone may be on one program, they come in and apply for food stamps, and of course, we're, checking systems and we're finding the information.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just one. I just did one. That's the minutes. Okay, the next, okay. Yeah.
So, Do we need to talk about funding before we approve this?
No, not for the plan.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Consider approving reclassification of fraud investigators.
Okay. Along with this change with the fraud, we have currently a fraud investigator 1 and a fraud investigator 2. With this new plan, both workers will be going to court to testify. Plus, with them having, to go to the courts, we're gonna have more information that's gonna need to be investigated. With the addition of this component, we're gonna need to reclassify that fraud investigator 1 to a 2, which is about $3,700 annually. That fund, those funds are being reimbursed at 100% from the federal government. And I know that you may ask, how are you gonna do this from now until the end of June? Our unspent salary, that can handle that. That's only $3,700 per year. That is the increase.
My motion.
Motion by Mr. Britt, second by Ms. Trivett. Any more discussion?
Yes, so are we saying that we will not hire fraud investigators 1 at this point, any more of those?
No,
Everybody will be an investigator 2?
yes,
Okay.
correct. They will be doing the same job duties.
Okay.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Item C.
Okay, I'm here this evening, Lisa Nance, your typically see her here to report out on the Medicaid, eligibility audits. She was out sick today, sorry for that. You will notice that the, audits that are in your packets look a little different from what they were last month. At your request, we went back to denoting each individual worker. You'll notice that on the right side, the red, that is the new employees. Remember, we have those that just started 3 or 4 months ago, and then the blue are our seasoned workers. You'll notice that the, staff that have the less than 1 year, some of their scores have decreased in the area of applications technical eligibility. That's due to the fact that the month of October is the first month that they were actually doing the work. And we anticipated that there may be some issues. As we are reviewing these applications and we are finding errors or concerns, we're showing them those concerns. They're receiving more training. I'm not going to say after this first month that they will be at 100%. We may see another month that there are some concerns, but we are hopeful that as the months go on, they will become stronger in their knowledge.
I don't think we have that problem. Not like the one on the screen?
Yeah, I don't know where they are.
Oh,
Yeah,
you don't want to call me messed up.
I don't know where they
We don't have that chart.
Yes, we do, we have it. No, not that one on the board, that we don't have that.
What's the title?
We don't have the chart you're talking about. Now, y'all got it, y'all lucky, I don't have it.
She's not talking about this chart
She's
here.
talking about the chart right there, Ms.
Yeah, it's in the
Cogdale.
packet, mister. It was in the packet.
It's not on, it's not with it.
No, it's not on here, but it's online. Yeah, but it wasn't, it's not here.
What you have there, Mr. Peterson, that is the quarterly report. Flip through, do you have anything?
Yeah.
No, we don't have it here on the screen.
We don't have anything
That's not
reflecting October of 2019, it stops.
It's
at-
not,
It's not very
it's
long.
not here, but it's in the packages.
No, it said something.
So, you've done what? This don't, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H don't and I don't represent employees.
Yes.
Group
it does.
employees.
No, these are
Single
individuals.
employees. Okay. So what did you say was different? Did you say anything was different on this chart?
What I said was last month, we, showed you a chart that had all of the employees clumped together. And we have gone back to the original way that we were reporting out, which lists each employee individually.
And
Across the bottom is A, B, C, D, E, the alphas, that represents the employee. And the reds, to your far right, the red, that is your new employees, the ones that are less than a year.
So they independent this time, they did all this.
All of this is individual, yes.
And can I ask a question too? What's the background of the ones these new employees? What's
The new employees, these, we were not fortunate enough when we advertised and got applications in that we did not get anyone that had experience. The qualifications is that they do have some sort of knowledge of customer service, computer reviewing systems. But none of these had economic service, so they are fresh new.
So,
I knew Bladen County College was doing that. training.
NC Fast.
Right, is that?
NC Fast is only to show them how to navigate the system. It does not teach them policy.
can I ask you a question? Is that reflecting 9 employees up there?
Correct.
9 employees, and this is how they're performing for the month of
Of
October
October.
with new employees. So it's not that, I'm just trying to figure out how you run the scenario, because what you were showing us, where they was up performing at one level, then they would come down and where you show you need to do improvement. How would we know where they need to do improvement at? Remember you said you would look at them with the deficiencies and tell where they was at and how you get them back up if they were doing something.
They were
And
working
then-
with supervisors before.
And then they got down, how do you tell whether they were slipping or going up? I'm trying to figure out how you tell about the one with 72, what was happening in September.
You're thinking about the quarterly report,
Yeah, how you do
which
that?
will show.
Yeah.
Because in the quarterly report, you're looking at each month. We will have like July, August, and September lined up
So
together.
what
And
you've
this is
done,
on what
instead
you-
of individuals audit scores, you've got group scores on the quarterly.
That comes in the quarterly.
The quarterly, and that's the reason you're seeing what you're seeing. They're
This
putting
is-
them together and averaging them out.
No,
No, it ain't that.
No, what we're doing tonight, what you're seeing in front of you is the individual for October.
What he's talking about is the next charts. So let's go to the next charts. That's where we're getting confused.
The charts is here, we have here. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay.
The quarterly report.
Yeah, how do we assess who's falling and who's up? You guys with 3 different scales on each one of them.
While you're looking at this, Vicki, I'm happy to tell you, I see progress since you started doing this personally.
Thank you.
I commend y'all.
Thank you. What we have on the charts that you were looking at, what does it say across the top, Mr. Coggle? Does it say technical audit?
Yeah, technical.
Okay, just want to make sure that we're on the same.
Mhm,
This is your July through September,
mhm.
and we have them listed across the bottom again as individual. But you have the 3 months together. Look at, A, you see a blue on your far left, that's your July applications. Your red, that's August, and then the purple is September. So those first 3 colors, that's going to show you how A performed those 3 months, okay? And when we get to the end of this quarter that we're in now, you will get one of these reports to show you quarterly. But until we finish the quarter, we will do the individual charts like you're seeing tonight. So don't let that confuse you. The chart that's in front of you now, you're seeing the technical. Robin, can you advance down? That should be your,
That's the bottom.
that's the bottom. What's the top? We'll go up. Okay, this one here, this is your eligibility applications. Okay. Advance one more. That's your technical recertification chart. Remember that and then advance one more. This should be your recertification audit. Remember, we're reviewing 2 types of processes. Applications, that's when a person comes in and makes an application. We have to review that. Then once a person has been on the program for a year, then we have to do a recertification. So there's 2 different charts going on. You have, as we explained in the beginning when we first started coming, there's the eligibility piece that we're looking at. Eligibility is what is the main concern. If we don't get the eligibility piece correct, people may not be eligible. They could be on the program and not be eligible. We could have made that determination in error. Your technical, remember, your technical problems or errors that doesn't affect eligibility. So, I'm not saying that one's greater than the other, but the eligibility is the greatest piece. The technical doesn't count against us.
But Ms. Smith, to ask one question, I'm thinking. When I look at the chart that I have here, and it has A for Medicaid technical audit, and I got 98 in blue, 95 in red, and a 73 in purple. Does that mean that she performed with technical audit down from a 85 or 90 something down to a 73 during that quarter?
What does it say across yours?
It's got all the Medicaid technical audit. And you look at number, if you look at A,
Okay,
she got 3 lines, blue and a red one and a purple.
right,
July, August, and September.
right, right.
So that means that she went down on her third month to 73.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
here on this one. Yes, on that third month, on her technical. On her technical, Mr. Cottle, she did come down.
And so that's why I was kind of getting mixed up about how you, was you identifying these guys. When you look at that chart there, it doesn't show that.
No, because this is just for October, the one that's in front of you. It is gonna look different from the quarterly, because the quarterly is gonna have 3 months.
So which one of these should we follow? The one you got there, when it comes out, or which one?
October.
You don't have that in the fact, what's showing there. So my question is, like, all adult Medicare technical audit, like you said, the first one is blue, red, and purple.
Yes.
Why don't these other ones have blue, red, and purple?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because in the quarterly chart, look over to your legend. Okay. If they have green, they're less than a year. Cause see, remember, we were putting these in for quarter, 3 months. And you'll see that the newer workers, the ones that are gonna have some of the green beside them, they're less than a year, so we did not have, they have not started working on recertifications at that time. So they're not gonna have 3 bars, cause they have not started that recertification process.
Would it be too complicated if we had one that's reflect less than a year, and the others that go the other direction, and that way we wouldn't have them confused?
If you think that would help, most definitely.
I think that'd be a little bit more reasonable for us to look at. If you just seen who was less than a year. then
So
the
you
ones
would
that's
like
a
for
year.
us to have a chart of our seasoned workers and then a chart for the,
Yeah, I think we might be able to interpret a little bit better.
okay. That's still, it'll create more charts, but we must definitely can oblige.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Terry, I have a question. I just got one question. Could your employee eligibility error impact the fraud cases?
At that point, it would be an agency error. It would mean that the worker did something wrong.
Right, because that didn't have an impact on your fraud case.
There wouldn't be a fraud if it's our fault.
So you can separate the two of those.
On that,
Okay.
if I can,
Mr. Tribbett,
real quick, isn't that what you, I don't want to, cut you off, but isn't that what you were doing by color coding it, already separating the newer employees versus the seasoned employees?
That's
What I'm
how
just trying to say is that instead of having them to do an additional spreadsheet, if they've already, kinda got it that way with the green and the blue, we just know that, hey, blue, think fresh, green and blue, and then they're seasoned, without them having to do another.
Right.
Well, she gave you just one chart, like she got it there, then you won't never see the reflection of who this is.
When you look at it as a quarter, because you are looking at 3 months at a time, it gets busy.
Okay, I get it, yeah.
You have to see, you would know that, because he's the same.
So you're saying, Mr. Cottle, just for clarification, when we come to our quarterly chart, when we're putting 3 months together,
Show it for the person that's less than 1 year,
okay,
then show it for the person that's over 1 year.
just for the quarterly where we put the 3 months together, for 1 month, what we've got up there
That
now?
would be fine, but you're
Okay,
saying
but
if you
for
want to
the
look at, I'm trying to figure out, we was concerned about the progression of who's doing mistakes and how you keeping them up to par. This would show us how you elevate and what's happening. If somebody reflect and go down on here, you automatically pick it up and see it because it's there. If you had two charts.
So, I'm gonna move on. Okay, I have to just study mine a little bit better next time, but like, adult Medicare technical audit, like 98% in, July recertification.
Correct.
In August recertification, it was 95%, and then in September, 73%.
Right. I do not have that information with me tonight.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's what I was
But-
looking at.
That's what I would.
You know, it could have been a lot of things, you know.
That's
You
okay.
know, we are human,
That's
there's some
okay.
human error.
But a lot of them just went back and we did that month, it could be a policy change.
That's okay.
See, I looked at D as being the new employee, C, and C has got the same reflection on there, where it went from 100 down to 72.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out how to distinguish whether that's a new one or old. I'm looking at the codes over here,
The
but
code
Right.
to the side.
Well,
but the
see,
codes, you
A and
know,
B
about
is
six,
your
you just see puts
season.
everybody in that same category.
A and B is your season, and C is your new employee.
Everybody in the same category.
Okay.
Yeah, were they interpreting policy wrong? Did we realize that? Was that a trend, and we re-educated them?
We good, thank you so much.
You know, it would
Good.
confuse you.
We're good, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. We appreciate this with the fraud plan.
Health and Human Service, Dr. Terry Dunn.
So I only have 2 items for you tonight. The first one is, consider the approval of the Community Alternatives Program Conflict of Interest Policy. This is to protect the CAP beneficiaries' rights to be able to have input into the care without bias, and it is an accreditation requirement. So we
Motion
ask.
by Mr. Britt, second by Ms. Trivett. More discussion, any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Item B.
The second one is, request for you to consider approving the 2020 CLIA contract. Remember that our health department comes under the state CLIA contract. This is an annual contract. It falls under the federally defined category of limited public health testing, which allows us a 15-test maximum of waived and moderately reduced complex test per year.
Motion approved, Mr. Britt, second by Mr. Bullock. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Finance, Ms. Lisa Collins, Financial Officer, Financial Dashboard.
Good evening to each of you.
Good evening.
I'd like to review the dashboard for the end of October at 33% of the year. The revenues for general fund came in at 35.31%, and the expenditures were at 31.08%. Solid waste revenues were at 42.63%, and expenditures were 31.78%. Emergency telephone revenues were 25.20%, and the expenditures were at 29.72%. The water revenues were 33.98%, and the expenditures were 10.59%. Any questions about
And
that?
on the solid waste, is it
We're still
bouncing out
monitoring
or
that.
is
We
it
have
just really
noticed,
going?
and Kip's here, he might could address it, but we have noticed that the last 2 months, the tonnage has been down.
It's going down?
So we're kind of watching that to see if it's, make sure it's not a fluke or anything to see this
Do we
on.
think it might have been from the hurricane to be a chip probably, no more about that?
That's about the only projection we've got right now, sir. We saw this a little bit after Matthew for several months. This one has been occurring longer than what we experienced with Matthew,
Okay.
but it looks like it could be related to the storm.
And we also had change in contracts during the year, so
Yes.
that could have something to do with it.
Thank you, Ms. Collins.
Thank you.
Emergency service Director, Mr. Nathan Dallas.
Good evening. Good evening. First item on there is, we did receive the grant agreement for the generator and the transfer switch for transfer switch for East Bladen, generator for West Bladen. So, that's the grant agreement you see in front of you. We got that from HNGP, so.
Nathan,
Yes, sir.
would that be the one, just like when they had the power outage? Is this a switch that would solve, remedy that problem?
Yes.
Is that what we're talking about? though?
Yeah, so we could hook a generator straight into it at East Bladen to supplement the one they had. And I think the one West Bladen got, I don't know all the details on it yet, because I kind of inherited this project. I just finalized some of this stuff. I think the generator at West Bladen was an old Army surplus when they built the school, and the one at East was newer when they built the schools for some reason.
But what I'm asking, with this hookup, this grant, would it provide that source of power for a generator? Or do we have the generator in place, or we gonna have to get one?
We got generators at the,
So this would just make it so it won't be a dark.
so we can hook right into the school.
Okay.
And we don't have to run drop cords and all, put a heating and air unit in there and all that.
Okay.
Motion by Mr. Brooks.
Second.
Approved, second by Dr. O.P. Moon Goins. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Consider approving supplemental hazard mitigation grant, HMGP agreement. Mr. Dallas?
We had to go back to the state on, 3 different properties that were damaged. This is all Hurricane Matthew stuff still. The first 2 properties in that grant agreement, you'll notice on Highway 11, and I think the others on that now, I believe. Out, yeah. 210, we had those properties originally and NIT reconstruction, which means we were gonna reconstruct the property back at the code. They again got flooded during Florence, totally, so we went back to the state and said we need to do an acquisition on it. We think they're gonna be in the flood, they are in the flood, the Mitchell property on Highway 210 is in the floodway zone.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Gooden. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Mr. Dallas.
Thank you.
Advisory Board appointments, Bay Tree Lakes, 2.
Reappoint.
Second.
Reappoint by Mr. Gooden, second by Dr. O.P. Moon Goins. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Mr. Massey has moved out of the area, so he needs to be replaced.
That's on Bay Tree.
You rescind your motion?
Motion table.
Second.
Motion tabled by, Mr. Dallas, second by Mr. Bullock. That's who made the first one.
So we can't.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, B is Clarkton Fire District 2. Motion to reappoint by Mr. Good, second by Mr. Dowd. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Okay, for December 16th, you got about, 12, 14, 16, just guessing. Please look over and be ready for, make appointments. 12 is individual delegation to wish to address the commissioners. None. Matters of interest, Commissioner Brooks. We moved you down because you weren't here. Please come forward. In memory of Mr. Paul Brooks, whereas in 1938, the Siouan Indian community of Lumber River was recognized by the Bureau of Indian Affairs for federal recognition under the Reorganization Act, Wheeler-Howard Act. And whereas the Department of Interior examined 209 individuals who self-identified as Indians and had petitioned the Secretary for recognition by the federal government. And whereas of the 209 individuals tested by anthropologists, it was ultimately concluded that 22 people were 1/2 degree or more Indian blood. And whereas these 22 individuals subsequently became known as the original 22. And whereas Mr. Paul Brooks, a Bladen County resident since 1980, and the last surviving member of the original 22, Tuscarora, passed away on August the 20th, 2013, at 535 San Sarah Peterson Road, Council. Now therefore be it resolved that Mr. Brooks' memory will never be forgotten as the entire trial will continue his legacy. Adopted 18th day of November 2019. Mr. Brooks, we are very honored to present this to you.
I just want to just thank the chairman and the members of the commissioner. I know that quite a few of them seen me with dad and stuff, and I just want to thank God for the opportunity to be here, because it is a history, historical history, and we just don't want to forget it. And it is a Bladen County is a great history. It goes all the way back. So I just thank all of y'all. God bless you.
Any commissioner got anything? Now's the time. I put it on the agenda, you ain't got nothing to say.
It's not scheduled. If you'd like for it to.
That was the question, because it came, remember I asked you about it earlier? Because it came under interest of commissioner.
Yeah, that's fine.
You
You did just ask me about
right,
it.
because
I didn't know.
they've been asking me about it because they have some, they always think there was mold in the courthouse. But you're saying that we've been told, no, there is no mold. However, you still have them, it could be other issues. But I'm just asking, when will the courthouse be repaired?
Okay, that's a good question. And just to clarify, Mr. Kip McClary is here and he can speak to this matter better than I can. He's been dealing with it directly.
Right.
But just to let you know, and we shared this information with you last year, we had testing done a couple of times by the insurance company, the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Risk Management Pool, that which indicated that the air quality was fine. And we shared that with the agencies here in the courthouse. Since then, Kip has been in an extensive conversation with not only our insurance company, but also with FEMA. And so I know it seems like it's been a long process, because it really has, but he's he's closer than he has been in terms of hearing the word from FEMA. FEMA requires certain information from the insurance company indicating what they will pay for, what they will not pay for, and then hopefully FEMA will pay a significant portion of the difference. So, Kip, that's kind of a general overview if you want to share.
No, and agree with what Mr. Martin has just said. We have talked back and forth between the insurance company and FEMA several times, and the last of which they requested information specifically from the insurance carrier as to what would be repaired and what couldn't be repaired under the insurance policy. And then FEMA tells us that there's still an opportunity, that they can kick in some funds potentially from two funding sources. One is to match our repair money, and the other is to do mitigation work, which should prevent future damages from wind-driven rain. Of which we're talking about windows for the courthouse and some ceiling work around the masonry and that sort of stuff. But we're waiting for confirmation now from FEMA as to the final say-so as to whether they can provide this fund or not. Once that is done, we will then formulate a plan to move forward and start repositioning people in the building while this work takes place. Again, Mr. Martin highlighted that we had tested the building, I think a total of twice following the storm. We did some cleanup work, we did some carpet cleanings, we did some other work throughout the building to ensure that we did not have a problem. And each time the building tested at a significantly better air quality than what was outdoors on the days that those were tested.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
So that's the way they actually do the mold test. They compare interior mold sample, mold spore counts to exterior on the days that they're here. And they came up cleaner than exterior air at those times. So that's the last report we issued to staff.
Thank you.
And Mr. Duncan, Dr. Duncan, you did some training on, can you give us just a brief update on who attended that or the class you had?
Well,
To help the citizens of Bladen County if they thought they had mold versus looking all over the world.
If anybody that does think they have mold, there are some steps we can help them through, to walk them through, because, I mean, just, if you go just about anywhere, there is some mold. And all mold is not bad, but there is a way to mitigate the mold at home in personal places, and that's what, when Mr. McCleary spoke about the mitigation that they had done, the cleaning and so forth, that's what they did. So that, the spores, when he talked about also, there are spores, and then there are dangerous spores. And one of the key things for him is there were none of the dangerous spores.
Okay.
I got one matter.
Mr. Cogdell.
Thank you. Talk me about this. I've been getting a lot of concerns about ditches, drainage problems, and it's not so much going into the swamp, but people are complaining about these ditches along the highway in front of their homes and the covers are being stopped up. Is there any way we can get the state to start looking at that and seeing if they can't start doing something before we get another storm?
Greg, we'll do a letter, but DOT's busted.
You gotta do something. Well, back in that very well.
We'll send letters.
Yeah, if you'll give me the certain, if there's specific areas, I'll be glad to email.
Is everywhere?
But Mr. Peterson's correct, they have had to, scale back on their crews and that type of thing, so work has stalled to a near standstill with regard to that type of thing.
Mr. Martin, let's just send a letter, because there's a lot of ditches all over the county.
Yeah, but it's
Anyone else? I got something, Ms. Speaker, come back up, please. You know, it's almost Christmas time, and DSS does a wonderful job with these Christmas angels.
Yes.
And with these elderly people that's disabled and, that's in wards that, they're in wards because their responsibility, the county, the states, I don't understand all the wards, but anyway, there's a letter in your packet here. I think they got 34 individuals, 37 names in the wards that they need help, and the Christmas angels, you really need to reach down and contact DSS and get you some Christmas angels for these kids. A lot of them just wants clothes. A lot of them just wants a coat. A lot of them just want shoes. So Commissioner, take some of your little salary here and let's get some angels. You got anything on that?
I would say, like you said, our wards, these are our adult elderly population that we have had to take into our custody. So, you know, I make the decisions for them. Keep in mind that they are on a fixed income, and their needs that they have, again, are clothing. The foster care angels, again, like Mr. Peterson said, the children, they like their toys, but a lot of times they won't, the foster parents need clothing for the children. But they do get a monthly stipend, but when you start to buy underwear and socks for children, that can be expensive, you know, and also providing for the food and other needs that they have. I am prepared tonight if anyone would like to take an angel for the foster care program, or a few items I have listed for some of our adult wards. I have those available for you tonight if you would like to partake.
Yeah, I know, I seen some today, because I ain't saying this to say I already got mine, but I'm saying this because these people need help. There's one elderly adult, she wants a doll. I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? This really feels, we really need to reach out, and the county, hopefully the media will pick up on it and they'll reach out and we can get these kids and these elderly people adopted. And thank you.
We did have it on our HHSA website this weekend. Travis Greer helped us with that, and we had like 1,200 likes or views. So that's an excellent way for us to get information out.
Does that include, Ms. Smith, does that include the same for those families? That includes that? Because we also have those families as well.
That's right. We also do have another area from the clients that we serve,
Right.
those families that we do know that they cannot provide for their families. We do have another group that we do also.
And I want to tell you, because she really came through for the last couple of years for me, because I give names, or I'll refer parents or families there. And I thank you.
I have to say, Bladen County really comes through for us.
Ms. Tripp, you have something?
Yes, sorry. I was gonna say that, I know in the past, the past 3 or 4 years now, Vicki, we've done the Angel Tree at the fitness center, where y'all dropped off, I think 20 names at a time, and then as they are gone, then we add some more, so that offer still stands anytime between now and, you know, the end of the week, if you wanna get us a handful out there, and then any instructions, just let us know.
You can pick them up tonight, Ms. Trippy.
Sure.
All right, Mr. Martin, she'll answer any questions she's going to have. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to review the calendar with you for the remainder of November and as well as December. Just remind you that tomorrow at 12 noon, the Elizabethtown White Lake Area Chamber Luncheon will be held at the Farmers Market. On Wednesday, the Diabetes Forum continues at Baldwin Branch Missionary Baptist Church at 5:30 p.m. On Friday, the Bladen County Farm City Week Breakfast will be held at Powell Melvin Building at 8 a.m. Offices will be closed next Thursday and Friday in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. Moving over to December, on Sunday at 3 p.m., Sunday, December 1st at 3 p.m., the Elizabethtown Christmas parade will be held here in town. There's a prayer service at 8 a.m. on Monday the 2nd. The Board of Commissioners meets that evening at 6:30. The Ministerial Association meets on Tuesday the 3rd at 8:30 a.m. at the hospital. The Bladen County Sheriff's Office Christmas Party will be held on Thursday the 5th from 11 until 1 p.m. On Saturday the 7th, the Bladenboro Christmas Parade will be held. Also that evening at 5 p.m., the East Arcadia Christmas tree lighting ceremony will take place. On Monday the 9th at 5:30 p.m., the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee meets. The Diabetes Forum continues on the 11th. The Board of Commissioners meets on the 16th at 6:30 p.m. and offices are closed the 24th through the 26th in observance of the Christmas holiday.
Mr. Martin, on that,
Yes, sir.
December the 6th at 6 p.m. is always the lighting of the Christmas tree at Bladenboro
Okay, thank you.
at the Farmers Market and at the stoplight. And also on December the 7th, there's after the Christmas parade in Bladenboro, there's a barbecue lunch for the Kevin Connor Foundation.
Okay, thank you.
They're trying to, they created a foundation in his honor to serve kids in Bladen and Columbus County.
Good. Thank you. Moving on to item B, a proposed 2020 commissioner meeting, or schedule for commissioners' meetings is provided for your consideration. I will mention that if you'll notice, the highlighted colors, March the 9th is the second Tuesday of March due to the NACO Legislative Conference. July 13th is the second Monday of July, and that is due to the NACO conference. And November 9th is the second Monday of November, and that is due to the primary, the election.
So I guess we'll disapprove the commissioner meeting next.
Yes, sir, if there's
One reason we want to get that out is because of lining up our pastors and stuff to pray our meetings. Okay.
Thank you. Moving to item C, the board has requested to consider accepting a bid in the amount of $8,400 for property, county-owned property located at 2555 Bladen Union Church Road. The county's cost at this point is $8,400, and it's a 2.27 acre tract.
Motion approved, Mr.
Second.
Good, second by Mr. Tribbett. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That was the same property that was.
That's right.
Talked about last time, that was.
6,400, yeah.
Okay.
And then item D is the board's requested to consider approving a disaster recovery grant agreement with the North Carolina Office of State Budget and Management. This is a three-party agreement with the state, the County of Bladen, and the Kelly Dyke District Committee. And this is for engineering services.
Motion by Mr. Britt.
Second.
Second by Dr. O.T. Van Goins. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Please,
Thank you, Mr.
Would it could I please ask for the manager to do something?
You can ask him after the meeting.
Give
I
us
mean,
a-
little thing when I said no. You can ask him after the meeting. He'll send everybody a copy of it. Mr. Brooks, thank you again. we were honored to do that.
And thank y'all. God bless.
If we can help you any other way, let us know. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
All in favor, say aye.